Welcome to FY Idaho. I'm talking with Ted Dunlap, who is a candidate for Ada County Sheriff. And you, on your brochure here, it says that you're a constitutional sheriff for Ada County. Tell us what the difference is between a constitutional sheriff and any other sheriff. Aren't they all constitutional?
They sure should be. There's 120 of them in the U.S. today that actually support the Constitution that they swore to uphold and defend, and they recognize that the sheriff is the highest law in any county in the U.S. So about 120 of them are now doing that against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So someone comes in, they're violating the Constitution, whether they're violating it under color of law or pretend law or pseudo law or not, the sheriff can stand tall with a good support with the community and tell them to leave. They have to stay within the law of the land or they're not welcome in this county.
Sounds like you're talking a lot like Sheriff Richard Mack.
Richard Mack is one of the chief proponents of this organization called Constitutional Sheriff and Police Officer Association. I'm a member. The Canyon County has a member of that organization. Richard Mack will be out here May 5th to an event that we're all putting on to reach out and tell everybody about this. With proper support, this campaign could give us a constitutional sheriff in Canyon and Ada County, have half the population of Idaho protected by a constitutional sheriff's office, deputies, and posses.
Yes, I understand Ed Hendershot is bringing Richard Mack here, and he's a write-in candidate for sheriff, I believe, in Canyon County.
That is correct. There's a three-way race in the Republican primary. Ed Hendershot, because of some information he didn't get correctly from the clerk, Ed has to be a write-in. But he has got a good campaign going, and this could be a write-in that will work. The message is good. The message is strong. Everybody out there can be free and live under the Constitution of the U.S. no matter what executive orders are being signed illegally, unlawfully, no matter which agencies are going beyond the Constitution, they can stop right here, right now.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the Wayne Hage situation in Nevada. He was married to Congressman Helen Chenoweth from Idaho, and when she retired, they moved to their ranch. He actually won a case against the government. It was one after his death, unfortunately, that his family is still carrying on, and it had to do with feds coming onto his property. Now, what you're telling me is if the feds came on to a farmer or a rancher's property and they had something that was less than correct, the sheriff could intervene.
Not only could, he's obliged to. A constitutional sheriff feels that obligation in his heart. He knows it's correct, and if he has to call out the posse, he will. More often than not, the constitutional sheriffs in the U.S. are just going and announcing to the feds that you must inform us before you go around arresting people or harassing people in this county. You are not the highest law in the land. The sheriff is the highest law in the land. If you have a sheriff that understands that feels that obligation, and has the integrity and courage to follow up on it, you now have liberty.
So what would you recommend, how would you recommend people become up to speed on this? I mean, we have, Sheriff Mack has written several books.
This is Sheriff Mack's newest book right here. I have a website, teddunlap.net. I've written every word of it out there myself. I feel that in my heart and soul. You can see that when you read that stuff. We need, at the county level, we need in the neighborhood level, we need people to join the posse now. We need people to say, if we're going to beat an incumbent come November 6th, we got to do our work now. We have to build it. Invite me out to your community meetings. Invite me out to whatever groups you have. Be a champion for liberty in your neighborhood. Be a champion within your family. With whatever people you come in contact with, you need to be a champion for liberty. This is ours. This is ours for the asking. We can have it right here, right now. That's why I'm doing this. The whole reason I'm doing this, because I don't think we have time to beg and plead with somebody in Washington, D.C. to do the right thing. They have proven they won't. We have to show them that this is a line you can't
about the Constitution and how the sheriff, the county sheriff, has more authority than a lot of people think in terms of what would happen if federal officers or came onto somebody's land and started giving them a hard time.
That's right. And an example would be the sheriff at Waco, Texas. He's going to go to his grave, he says, regretting that he didn't know that what a constitutional sheriff was. He didn't know what his authority and responsibilities were, and he didn't rise to the occasion. And he knows now that all those lives that were, those people that were murdered, was done on his watch, and he should have prevented it.
Same thing with Ruby Ridge.
Same exact thing. Ruby Ridge, the agent should know that they have to go in with the sheriff's permission, and only then can they go. And together, the sheriff, a deputy, maybe one of the federal agents, we walk up to Randy Weaver's door, we knock on the door, excuse me, we understand you have this problem. We have a small issue with an organization that probably shouldn't exist. But that's another subject altogether.
To ask about badge heavy.
I worked in corrections for a brief while, and we had a phrase there that was called the badge heavy. And the badge heavy is, I am wearing a badge, therefore I am God. They're omnipotent. They think that they are emperors in a little empire. They think everybody else is beneath them. And community sheriffs, community policing is just the opposite. You know who pays your wages, you know why you're working, you know who you're working for. You're working as a peace officer. You're not a law enforcement badge heavy looking for little things you can squeeze people on. You're actually there to make the place a peaceful place and to help defend the liberties of the people that you're working for.
Well, we see this in elected officials as well, where they start thinking that they're not there hired by the people to serve them, or to represent them, but to kind of reign over them. So I guess that's just a danger that we have when we elect people to represent us in any position.
Well, we know the famous phrase is power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It really is. Some people are more vulnerable than others, and some people are actually attracted to law enforcement because it gives them an opportunity to have authority that they don't have within themselves. Mm-hmm. They don't have self-confidence, self-esteem. They're actually weak people, and they become bullies when you put the badge on their shoulder. Those people don't belong. That may be the only important duty of the county sheriff, is to weed those people out of law enforcement. Law enforcement should be community policing. It should happen at the community level. We should have the support of your neighborhood watch organizations. The posse needs to be built from those neighborhood watch organizations. The deputies should be leaders. They should be people that you want to follow and you want to work with in your community. Anybody that doesn't qualify really needs to go work for another agency.
Well, we want people to know that we do have some good law enforcement officers out there, but there are also some sheriffs who are unaware that they have the authority that they have.
And Richard Mack is doing everything he can with this constitutional sheriff and police officer organization. There's a website. You can find the link from my website, teddunlap.net. I'm a member of that. I'm a part of that. We're bringing those guys out May 5th for Sheriff Richard Mack's coming out. Stuart Rhodes of the Oath Keepers organization is coming out. We're doing everything we can to tell people that the liberty is available. It's yours for the asking. You just have to work a little bit for it between now and, in the case of Canyon County, May 15th primary is showtime. In Ada County, it's the November 6th election is when it counts, but we need to build a grassroots posse that wants to have liberty in our county now. It's time.
You know, when I read Sheriff Mack's book about the county sheriff, Our Last Hope, I could not put that book down until I finished reading it. It was an excellent book. One of the pamphlets that the Smead Foundation puts out is The Proper Role of Government, and Benson uses as an example the county sheriff.
I've been aware of this for a long time, and I've actually, you can see in 2006 and 2010, I was on statewide debates for to running for governor of the state of Idaho.
Oh.
You guys didn't find me then. We don't have time to worry about the state level anymore. We don't have the option. We don't have time to worry about the national level anymore. It's down to the county by county. That's where liberty is going to be found today, and we need to work at a county level now.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For FY Idaho, I'm Elizabeth Allen Hodge.